Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and another episode of Ask the Fairies. This one is supposed to be for the week of August 29th through September 5th, but as you'll be able to see, this was filmed over several days. Nothing was quite clear as to what was going on sign-wise for universal signs from the fairies. So I just kept going until something began to make sense. And what it appears is that they are giving us mostly what is going on right now, which may in fact extend through the week of August 29th through September 5th. But these are like main events, perhaps. So let's see what they have to share with us. Things have been really hot and it's kind of foggy on this day, and I'm sharing with you what the sky has begun to look like. It looks like the trails are coming back. And for those who don't understand what I mean, what you're seeing on the screen are what clouds are supposed to look like. These are the clouds that I grew up with, and this is what we should be seeing: healthy, wonderful clouds. These are the clouds that we have been seeing for quite a while now because there hasn't been a lot of airline travel. So for some of you, this might be the first time for you to see these kinds of clouds. Before this, what's coming up next is probably what you are more accustomed to seeing. Here we have 3 different pictures from 3 different days in this past week. And as you can see, there are oddities here. It doesn't look anything like the other picture that you just saw of the healthy clouds. These trails have been created, supposedly, for the purpose of helping with our planet, to make our planet healthier. When in fact, if you do some research, the fairies are saying this is not the truth. It does not make our planet healthier, and it definitely does not make us healthier. So they want you to be aware of the increase again of these trails. And the fairies are urging me to let you look at the real cloud picture one more time, because they really want you to understand what Earth is supposed to be like, what the sky is supposed to be like, and not the untruths you are being shown every day so that you become accustomed to seeing and thinking that something is normal. Those trails are not normal, and those trails are quite harmful. Remember Sweetie? Well, she is on her way with us to take part of the walk with Sammy and I. And as you know, they are friends. But the fairies are showing us through this that things are changing. Sweetie isn't even stopping to sniff noses with Sammy. She just rushes past, panicked perhaps over the fact that he is not just like her. And maybe that means that, something bad is going to happen if she stands too close. And even though they were friends once, oh my goodness, she can't be friends with him anymore because it's bad. Of course, Sammy and Sweetie are not like this. They are too highly evolved to behave in this way, but the fairies used a perfect example of what we are seeing right now. Next was the weeping willow tree. The wind was blowing, and the way that this fog had covered over the tree, it kind of reminded me of pictures that I've seen of hurricanes. And I know that the leaves of this willow are not quite as crazy as they would be if the wind was blowing at 120 miles an hour, but you get the gist from the picture. So I think the fairies are sharing with us a warning here about a possible hurricane, and this might be Hurricane Ida that they're talking about, that's supposed to hit New Orleans. So I walk Sammy this route pretty much every day. And I have to admit, until I saw the video that I took, I don't recall ever really paying any attention to the fact that there were tanks here, white tanks. What really made them stand out in the video was the lighting and the fog. I feel as though the fairies really wanted to bring this to our attention because there's nothing on these tanks that gives us any indication of what is in them. And I think this is kind of a warning from the fairies of going, hey, would you really want what's in these tanks to be put into your body when you have no idea what they are? This seems to be what's happening as the push for the poke is put out there more and more and more, and the numbers are beginning again on a regular basis because they discovered fear could make humanity do anything the first time around. So why not do it again? Because they know that it's going to work yet again. We need to prove them wrong. Consider drinking a bottle of poison that is not labeled. Would you do that? Would you put that in your body? This is the same thing. No ingredients. We don't know anything. Here we have a field of soybeans, and it seems to be covered over in a kind of mist, which it is because this was the foggy morning. However, I feel as though this is the fairies sharing with us that there's something about the food that we aren't seeing or seeing clearly. There's been a lot on the news lately about so many different kinds of problems and recalls and so forth with food. And what it is going to do is create a shortage. Again, another fear tactic. The food isn't what they say it is. We are not seeing things clearly. We need to take a closer look, perhaps do some research, follow the fairies, see what they really have to share about the food. Sometimes I really think that the fairies do set up certain things, and yes, I'm going to say even the weather for a short period of time, simply because this was so perfect. After last week's video where I mentioned the Tin Man, meaning the water tower, and the line that came into my mind from the song by America called Tin Man, I began seeing a lot of references to Wizard of Oz in many different places, shows that we were watching, FB, social media, and more shows that we were watching, references on articles, that kind of thing. And then this week, when I went out, I saw this. The Tin Man can barely be seen because of the fog. It's like it almost doesn't exist, but we're saying almost. So what this tells me or feels like the fairies are sharing is from a meme that I actually saw on FB that said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, okay? And as we know, the man behind the curtain put on one heck of a show that had everybody quaking in their boots. But he was just a little guy behind that curtain. He just knew how to make people believe. He knew how to create fear. And that is what I think the fairies are saying here. The man behind the curtain is creating a show. It is a show. All of it is a show. And they're asking us to understand that and asking us not to buy into it hook, line, and sinker. And it is a matter of, is humanity going to survive or aren't they? So I guess you could say a matter of life and death is what they're sharing with us. Then the money tree came to my attention. I call this the money tree because the leaves are kind of roundish, and when the wind blows, they shake and they shimmer, and it kind of reminds you of coins in your hand. It is also the tree that drops the leaves first. And as you can see on the ground, there are many of them already, even though August has not ended quite yet and cold weather has not begun. I believe the fairies are sharing here. Follow the money. See where the money is actually falling and landing. get a little more understanding of what's actually going on. In this next clip, you'll see a long road before us, straight, with no encouragement to take an alternate path. Listen to the blue jays as they shout out their warning. Turn back. You are going the wrong way. You are entering dangerous territory. Take notice that you're not hearing just one blue jay, you're hearing many. The fairies are showing us that the shadows that are running all this are making sure that everything is stretched and elongated and topsy-turvy and is keeping us off our game, keeping us off balance so that we buy into everything that is sent our way, everything that is said, and everything that brings fear. Because when we're not in balance, we're fearful. We're so fearful. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is perfect. They know exactly how to upset the apple cart to get what they want out of humanity. The fairies are saying, recognize it for what it is. An amazing reminder here to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain and to follow the money. The Tin Man is in a perfect spot under the money tree. They couldn't make it any more clear than that.